Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about old bags. And I don't mean myself, I mean the bags behind me on the shelf. So I think we've all been there. We buy a bag, we love it, we use it, and then for whatever reason, either we find things about it that we don't like, or else we just kind of get bored with it. We put it on the shelf and then we fall out of love with it. So today, I'm going to be telling you how I fell back in love with some of my old bags and how you can too. Okay, if you have watched my channel, you are probably familiar with the saga of my Chanel reissue bag. So this is a 226 size. I got it a couple years ago for Christmas. And I loved it. I thought it was beautiful, but it didn't take me very long to realize that it was not working for me as an everyday carry because it was a little bit too small. And so I ended up putting it back on the shelf, and then every time I thought about it, I just didn't feel like it was going to be roomy enough and I wasn't going to be able to carry what I wanted to carry, and it kind of sat there on the shelf and got neglected. And eventually I feel like I fell out of love with the bag, so I decided that I was going to sell it. So with the price increases on Chanel, even the pre-owned bags, of course, have gone up in price too. And so knowing that, I thought I would get a good price for this bag, but I tried twice to sell it, and both times I got lowball offers, like really lowball, like a third of the selling price. And I wasn't willing to take a loss like that, so I decided that I was just going to wait until maybe it became a seller's market and I could maybe recoup some of my money. So put it on the shelf and didn't think too much else about it, intending to wait a little while, maybe 6 months or another year, before I could actually sell the bag. Now, in the meantime, I was watching some YouTube videos, specifically Double Vanilla. If you're not familiar with her, she does these street style videos where she travels all over the world and she interviews people on the streets of major cities about their style. So she asks them to go through their clothing, their shoes, their jewelry, their handbags. I love her videos. Check her out because I will link her down below. And when I was watching one of the videos, the most recent one that I saw was a street style from Paris. And the thing that struck me was that nearly every woman that she interviewed was carrying an old Chanel bag. And they would say things like, yeah, I got it from my mother, or I got it from my grandmother, or my aunt gave it to me, or I bought it in a vintage shop. And it was like a light bulb went on in my head. I started to realize, oh my gosh, these bags, these vintage bags, are gorgeous, and you really do not need to have the latest and greatest bag in order to look fashionable when you're getting dressed. And I don't know why I never thought of that before, but it may be the area where I live. But to be honest with you, the area where I live is not very fashionable. I mean, you find people everywhere you go. There's people in black leggings, and occasionally they have like a neverfull. So there's not a lot of style happening here. And so I look for my style inspiration. I look for my style inspiration on Instagram, and on Instagram you find poster after post after post after post of people posting all of these latest and greatest, the newest bag and the newest color, the newest iteration, and it kind of makes you feel like you really have to have the latest bag in order to be fashionable. And this video from Double Vanilla kind of like took me out of that mindset. I thought, oh my God, these bags, these vintage bags from Chanel or any other brand that's a luxury brand, they are really, really beautiful. So I thought, why don't I go and take another look at some of my bags? And so obviously I went right for this one. I picked it up and I really started to examine it, and I thought, you know, this really is a beautiful bag. First of all, I absolutely love the color of it. Is this sort of bronzy brown color, and it has this distressed leather, which I find really beautiful because I think it's very understated, sort of like a chic understated type of elegance. And then of course the hardware is really what sold me on this bag because it's so beautiful and intricate and substantial. It looks like jewelry, and I always love this bag. I always thought it was a beautiful bag, but I just wasn't getting my use out of it. And I thought, you know what? This bag is gorgeous. Like it looks so luxury and it looks so classic, and it's gonna go with anything. And I convinced myself to try and style this bag. So I thought, well, I'm just gonna take it out for like a run and see how I feel about it. and I'm gonna style it up. And honestly, it wasn't that hard to style it because obviously it's a classic. And I put on some distressed boots that were kind of like the same vibe as this distressed leather in the bag, and then I just popped on a sweater and a coat. I think I had my Kate Spade coat on, and I threw the bag over my head for crossbody. That's something else that I don't typically do, but I thought it looked a little more modern and a little more up to date. And when I took a look in the mirror, I was like, holy cow, this bag absolutely makes the outfit. So off we go. My husband and I were going out for lunch, and the whole time I was sitting in the car, I'm like holding this bag and I'm running my hands over it, kind of petting it, and I'm feeling how squishy the quilting is and how nice and substantial the hardware is. And really, it's not a tiny, tiny bag. There is room. There's a lot of little cubbies. You have the pocket on the back and this opening here, and then you have all of these areas inside to tuck things in with pockets and so forth. And yeah, before you know it, by the time the day was over, I was like, oh my God, this is really, really a fabulous bag. Now I remember why I loved it so much. And so I just fell back in love with it, and I've been carrying it for 2 weeks now every day. I have scaled down my everyday belongings just a little bit to accommodate the bag because, again, it's not really a hugely roomy bag, but I'm so happy that I actually was re-inspired to try this bag again. So if you're like me and you live in an area where there's not a lot of inspiration, definitely try other areas. Look at these videos. There's a lot of people online who do these street style videos. Double Vanilla is fantastic for this because not only does she show you the street style, but she interviews people, and so you know what their pieces are and where they come from. And like I said, they mention that these are vintage bags. They got it from a vintage store, and they might even mention the vintage store, and they're really, really inspirational. And so for me, it was like a real lesson to remind me that just because something is not brand spanking new and the latest and greatest doesn't mean that it can't look fantastic. So I was so happy with the way this outfit turned out, and I've been so happy carrying this bag because I know it's such a beauty. It's so understated, it's so elegant, and I really did fall back in love with my Chanel bag. And you can do the same thing. If you're looking for inspiration, just check things out on YouTube and see what you find, and you might be re-inspired as well. Now, another bag that I fell back in love with is this one from Taz. So this is an older bag. When I got this bag, I adored this bag, and I carried it probably for 2 solid years. It's kind of like a teens bag, like the 2000 teens. And it is a little bit dated. There's really no market for resale for this bag, but just looking at it, you can tell what a gorgeous, well-made bag this is. And that's the beauty of a luxury bag, is that even though it may be a little bit dated as far as style goes, the obvious luxury and quality of it is always there. And so because it's a top handle, a little bit chunky, a little bit larger, I thought I would switch up my accessories. And so I went ahead and I bought this big chain to go with it. Now, this bag is a little bit slouchy anyway. It's kind of reminiscent of the, the Bottega pouch. It does kind of slouch in the middle. Obviously, it's not the same thing as the pouch, but it does have sort of that vibe with an oversized kind of slouchy look to it. And of course, they do have the big chains on those bags. And so I thought, maybe if I just switch out the accessory, it might make all the difference in the world. So I went on Amazon and I picked up this big chunky chain. It's very easy to get on and off. There's just like a clip. All you need to do is put it in the D-rings. Normally this bag would have a leather strap, so I removed the leather strap and I added this one on. And you can do one of two things. Either you can carry it as a shoulder bag like so with the big chunky chain there, or you can just let it drape over and drop and give it a little bit of drama. And now all of a sudden it looks like an up-to-date bag just simply because of this chain. And I was so excited when I saw this because I thought, yeah, I can carry this bag. No one would know this bag is like 15 years old, and it just looks fantastic. So if you don't like chains, you can do like a guitar strap. Those are really popular now. You can maybe do a bag charm, or if you love twillies, you can switch out the twillies. You don't have to get the most expensive of anything, you know, Amazon or other retailers. Etsy is a great place to go for things like this. And, you know, think a little bit outside the box. Remember what you loved about the bag. For this one, it was the color and the softness and the beautiful seaming on this bag. And then I just went ahead and added this big chunky chain on it, and now I feel like, heck, you know, I can wear this anywhere, and I think it looks really, really cool. So that is another option for you if you have fallen out of love with one of your bags and you want to try to recapture that feeling, that delight, that excitement that you felt when you first got the bag. And I feel like these ideas are going to do it for you guys. So I am hoping that this was helpful for you. I hope that I inspired you to take another look at some of those old bags that are sitting on your shelf. Check out Etsy, check out Amazon, you know, check out those videos that are showing street style, and really try to think outside the box. And you would be surprised at how much you can really use and love those older items that are, you know, their quality, their luxury. They just may not be the latest and greatest, but you don't need the latest and greatest to really look stylish and fashionable. So that is it for my video today, guys. I hope it was helpful for you. If you did like it, please do give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video next week, guys. Take care.